Hello there, it's me, Dedee Cai. I'm back from the Fear Factor podcast, and today I'm excited I get to speak with you on the topic of how to get unstuck. I know you probably have heard about this before. Honestly, I do too, and honestly, sometimes the message that you need to receive to be able to have an aha moment or and for something to land with you, it needs to be repeatable, meaning like you need to hear the message more than once, so that way you will get to receive the message and take in what you need to take in, because I don't know about it for you, but for me, sometimes, most of the time actually, need to hear something more than once, but otherwise in from different angles, from different perspective. And today, I get to really share with you my personal take on the perspective of being stuck and how to get yourself out of it. Because oftentimes, as I've been sharing with you and being transparent with you with where I am with everything, and also where we are taking our business, a fit to profit, and where we want to go. There's a lot going on, and I do find myself feeling stuck sometimes. Especially with we're building out a you know marketing funnel, and literally, I got a call today saying that we need to do an overhaul of what we have been doing, and it wasn't working. And so I can feel stuck, or what I'm going to go straight into is usually I will just be paralyzed from taking the next action. But the first step to really getting yourself unstuck, from whether it is feeling emotionally stuck, or financially stuck, or I mean, like emotionally and all of that, is the first thing is to be able to identify why are you feeling like that, right? Because I know you have heard before that awareness is the biggest things when it comes to being able to come up with the right solution. And so what's really holding you back from taking that next action, or what's the core of it? And oftentimes it could be a couple things. The first thing is, it's always going to be fear, right? Like it's like that, it's just one thing. Just think about it. It's like your body and your mind is going into a fight or flight. You either fight or you're just going to run away from it, right? And fear is the first thing that usually keeps people stuck where they are. It's because they freeze. So the three reactions, actually, the third one that we don't talk so much more about is the fight, flight, or freeze. And the freeze is what usually happens when we're afraid. So the first thing that really get people stuck, or the one of the reasons why you feel stuck, the first thing is fear. And there are two type of fear. It's either a fear of failure, or there's also a fear of the unknown. So and there are so many different types of people, but most of the time we have either someone who is really analyzing everything, and then who is really controlling everything. That's me. So for me, I'm a controller, so I like to have things in order. I like to know exactly what's going to happen. So fear of the unknown is something that usually gets me stuck. So share that with the intention for you to really take a step back, and really, rather than being so beating yourself up, and being so down on yourself, to really, like, really logically take a step back and really see, okay, I'm feeling stuck. First of all, it's going to be fear. It's fear based for everything, right? Like when you're stuck, so you're afraid. What are you afraid of, right? So it could be fear of failing, or fear of the unknown. And usually for the analyzer, like I've shared, is fear of failing. And for the controller, is usually fear of the unknown. Or for some people who has like half of, like, a mixed personality, it's both. Is you're probably afraid of the unknown and also fear of failure. So it's really important to really take a step back and really see, what is really holding you back, and then really get to the core of it. And here's why: because the next step is going to get you some forward movement out of being stuck and feeling stuck. Is once you have identified what's holding you back, whether it's fear of failure, or fear of the unknown, then you can really begin to take small steps, towards whatever. So for example, for me, it's definitely fear of the unknown. So the first very small step that I can do, so that way I don't stay stuck and continue to move forward, is that like I do research, or whatever it is that I that helps me really understand the, the situation. So you can create an action plan, right? I know for some of you who likes to plan and things like that, the small steps can be create an action plan, really taking the time to really reflect on, what's really happening. And then, from that, like whatever it is, big or small, you can take that step. And even perhaps of like writing down, honestly, what really is effective for me is sit down and write down all of the different scenarios. I talked about this on one of my other previous podcasts too. It's like whatever we're afraid of the worst. And chances are, if you go down the list and you write down all of the things that you're afraid of when it comes to the unknown, most of them are really irrational. And so you really get to see and connect to, wow, I'm really thinking these thoughts, and that, most of these are not real. Like most of these I'm really making up in my head, right? Like compared to in comparison to what might have already happened in the past, something that you might have heard, like we're being told that we should be scared walking in the dark if someone was following us, right? Like if you really think about that, you can really already get yourself excited and nervous about it. So same thing here. So you want to get really connected to why you are feeling stuck. Then the next step is to identify it by taking that small step forward, processing the fear and the feelings, and then take the next step. And the next step goes straight into really managing your fear. And this is directly talking to those, including myself for the longest time, fear of failure. And I really want to really get really clear and real with you, is that you are not going to be able to succeed without failure. And rather than looking at, a failure as you are a failure, it's really the failure is the feedback that you need. As I share at the top of the episode, that what we just realized, that what we have been doing with the sales funnel is not working, it's not converting, it's not, giving us the results that we want. I can view that as a failure, right? I can be down on myself and be like, you're such a failure. Why did you choose that? Why did you choose to be in that program? Or why did you, choose to work with that one client? Whatever it may be, and whatever happened to you in the past, just really allow that and shift your mindset. Instead of calling it a failure, it's feedback that you need, because otherwise you're not going to know what's next. Right now, with the feedback that I got from learning that my previous funnel wasn't working, then I get to fix it. Like I get to literally go in and be like, this piece is not working, this piece is not working. And in this case, it's kind of amazing, because the actual funnel that we had, nothing was really, I wouldn't say nothing was really working, but the core pieces of that funnel are not working. So we get to fix that. So just consider that failure is feedback. I talked about this before, and really embrace it, because there is no success without failure. Okay. And last but not least, I really want to get real with you and really honestly share from the heart of one of the really biggest practice for me that, I have definitely have been doing, but especially more often in the past, couple of years, as we are trying to conceive my son and such like that, is really taking time for yourself to have quiet time. And for some of you, quiet time might be just sitting in meditation. Yes. Quiet time could just literally sitting down and really breathing in and experiencing whatever emotions that's coming up for you, and whatever it is that you're feeling. And for me, most recently, I find really sacred, and it, like I've shifted from meditating over to really praying. And for some of you who are close to me, who are listening to this, you guys know that, I was raised, Buddhist and things like that, and that's why I got into yoga, and everything is really aligned. But most recently, I am really taking it up to the next level, really immersing myself in a different realm of practicing spirituality. And I really tap into really giving myself quiet time to pray. And honestly, very similar to what we do with our business and our leadership trainings that I have been a part of most recently, is that you get to really share the basically we call it the breakdown, so meaning like what didn't work. And then it's almost like that is like an offering to say that you without beating yourself up, I did X, Y, and Z and it wasn't working, so then I get to really release it. So in a way, if in Christianity we call it confessing our sins, for example. And so the clearing that we get to do is so amazing, because then you have the clean slate to work with. So what I usually do is I would recall the day. That's how I reflect at night, or and then in conclusion would be praying. Is I reflect on the day to see what worked really well and what didn't work very well. And then I can say that, and I acknowledge for myself for all everything that worked well, everything that didn't work well. And then ultimately, I can recommit. Can recommit. And then, I'm just going to really stay intentional with whatever that is that I'm doing. So I would really recommend for all of you, for when you feel stuck the most, is to dedicate time for yourself in quiet. Because as little as we know about the body is the most incredible. And I say little because there there's new technology, not technology, there's new research that really says that you can really alter your cells by practicing like new thoughts and creating new connections in your brain and such like that. And the body stores everything, and the body, however you feel in your body, is really assigned to how you're feeling, um physically and emotionally and spiritually. So unless we get really quiet and we're really allowing our time to really connect with ourselves, connect to our bodies, we don't know where to turn, and we don't know what to do. And the reason why I'm saving this for like the last step, but it's like the most important step that you can really practice when you feel stuck, is that to really ultimately tr- start practicing believing in yourself. Because I can tell you, no matter what it is that you're going through, I mean, I'm a coach, right? Like I tell people what to do all the time and things like that, advice and recommend certain things. But ultimately, you know what you need to do. Yeah, you really do. It says you really have to be able to sit back and really feel into it and really practice believing in yourself, because your body knows, what needs to happen. And we don't do that often enough. We're like bombarded with social media, we're bombarded with the news, with the TV, with everything else, that we stop hearing ourselves. Like you don't believe in yourself anymore. You start hearing everyone else's thoughts and becomes eventually your whole belief system. And if you don't believe me, start really thinking about like what's the one thing that really holds you back from getting what you want. I can guarantee you 9 times out of 10 it's not your thought. I share that because my personal experience is when I was 15, a random, not random, but I was visiting a friend, and apparently there was this one gentleman who claims himself to be a fortune teller. And he just looked at me at point blank and was saying, "You would never be successful." That's what he said to me. And that's what I believed for a long time. Out of the blue, this is when I was 15, really trying to, identify who I am, learn about myself, and all of that. And that's what I was told. For the longest time, that's what I lived by. That's not my belief. That is someone's statement, someone's opinion of me. So I say that so that way, unless you're willing to sit down, get quiet, and really listen to yourself, you're always going to feel stuck, because you're always going to be striving to do something else that someone else wants you to do. You're trying to live up to someone's perception of you. You're living up to someone's expectation of you, whatever it may be. So the heart of this podcast today, what I'm really calling out for you to do, is that every time you feel stuck, and how to get unstuck is ultimately get back to yourself. Provide yourself some self-care. It starts with you being silent and really listening into your heart and what it is calling for you to do. that's really ultimately what I have for you, and I really mean it. And so I hope you take it with a lot of heart and take on the practice, just to practice it like 1 minute per day to start, and then we'll see what happens. Thank you so much, and yeah, I look forward to sharing more tips and yeah, more wisdom with you in the next episode. Thank you so much. Mwah.